What is going on, guys? Welcome to a new video on my channel, and in today's video we are going to be talking about how I went from obese to super lean, super obese to super lean in around a year and a half to 2 years. And I want to make this video to kind of give you guys some more insight on my process and what I did and my mindset to get to that stage, to get to that level, and how amazing it feels for me to know that I made that decision back in the day to make a change and to now be on the other side of so much work, so much hard work, so much cardio, so much training, so much dieting that it took for me to get to this other side. Now, with that being said, I want to start with the first thing with how I went from super obese to now super lean and around that time frame. And that's with me wanting to say that it's all about your mindset and what do you want in your life. For me, I started my diet. I made the decision to change in the beginning of 2023, and now we're closing in on 2025. And for me, basically, the biggest thing was in the beginning of 2023 is I was posting these videos and I was posting this content on my Instagram. For those of you who don't know, it's at Baram Kayumi, just like my YouTube channel. And I was posting these videos and these pictures on my Instagram all the time, every day, at least one a day, basically trying to inspire and help those out there, and motivate them to kind of work harder, to kind of do better in their life, and to kind of remind people that you are not alone and that you can do what you set your mind to. As long as you're willing to put the work in, you will get there. So basically I was making these little pieces of content, and basically in that process I was looking at my physique and I was like, bro, I do not look like what I'm trying to preach to these people. I'm trying to preach to these people that, hey, you all need to be in the gym. You all need to be putting in the work. It's okay if you're lonely. Just get yourself in there. You're going to change your life. You're going to feel better because of it. And then I would look in the mirror, and then I finally came to the realization after 5 years of being in college, after 5 years of focusing on another craft, which is trading, I was like, bro, I don't even look the way I want to look. And I'm out here preaching to others to go to the gym, but I look like shit. So I came to that realization in the beginning of 2023. I said, you know what? I'm going to stop this. I'm going to make a change, and I'm going to start trying to lose weight, and I'm only going to focus on little by little, and let's see where we could get to. And I don't care if it's going to take a year. I don't care if it's going to take 2, but I'm going to stick to this process, and I'm tired of looking like shit and feeling like this, and let's see what type of change we can make. And by doing that, by just making that mental decision of saying, okay, I'm tired of how I look, I want to make a change, I want to feel better, I want to look better, that was everything that helped me go from someone who hated his life to now, 2 years after, looking back and saying, like, damn, now I feel better, now I feel great in terms of like how I look compared to then. And I'm so glad that I made that decision, I made that choice. That's the first thing. It's all about mindset. If you're just remember, bro, like, if you're going through your daily life and you don't like how something is, remember that you can change it. If you're freaking broke, remember you can make more money. You can like start getting richer by making those changes. You know, get another job, stop spending money where you don't need to spend it. That's just one example when it goes to this. So I was like, bro, I'm fat, I hate how I look, I hate how I feel, I'm not inspiring people the way I want. So how can I change it? And boom, just that mental shift changed everything. I want you guys to keep that in mind. It's all up to you first, and then the results will come as long as you make that mental switch. 2025 now, we all mentally feel like COVID-19 and quarantine was just 5 months ago, but no, that was 5 years. My whole diet was 2 years ago when I started, and it went by like that. Now we're about to be in 2026, and I feel like we should be in May. Like, basically the point I'm saying is that time is flying by. Whether you make a change or not, time is going to fly by. And if you don't make the change, you're going to be in the same situation. If you do make the change, you're going to be in a better position, and you're going to be happier that you made that decision, because it's going to pay off. And it does pay off. Once the results come, it will pay off, I promise you. That's the first thing. The second thing is, how I went from super obese to super lean is I just put myself in a calorie deficit. is instead of eating, the example I always give, for example, is instead of eating 3 bowls of rice and chicken per day to continue looking the way I looked, I started eating 2 bowls of rice and chicken, which put my body in a calorie deficit, meaning my body was intaking less calories than it needed to look like that. Therefore, it started cutting weight and losing weight and stop being obese because it didn't have enough energy to run off of to continue looking the same way as I was. So yeah, put myself in a calorie deficit, and by doing so, my body started using my fat for energy because it didn't have a lot of energy coming in. I hope that example makes sense. If you have any comments or questions about that, comment down below and I'll answer them. Second thing, now, doing the calorie deficit, it didn't mean that by doing that, my life was going to change and I was going to look how I wanted to look in 1 week or 2 months or 1 month or 3 months, whatever. No, I had to give myself time. That's where the third part comes in, which is patience. I told myself, okay, I'm tired of looking like shit, and I made the mindset switch. I told myself, number 2, how can I lose weight? How can I stop being obese? How can I get from where I look right now to someone who's lean, with possibly a 6-pack, with veins everywhere, with gains, and someone that's just like super happier with how they look and feel? Okay, I need to put myself in a calorie deficit. That's the how. And now the third thing is, okay, what is this going to take from me? It's going to take a lot of patience, and that's where that was sprinkled on top. I told myself, I said, I spent my whole life, my whole 5 years in college, all this time, as someone who absolutely loves the gym, loves bodybuilding for what it is, everything about it, been doing it since I was 14. I told myself, I said, okay, I look like shit, and I spent all these years to get myself to this point where I look like shit. How the hell can I do this process of losing weight, and how long will it take me to do so? And I said, you know what, I don't want to lose muscle by trying to overdo it too quick. And number 2, I know if it took me all this time to get to look like this, it's not going to all happen overnight. I had to come to that realization. So instead I said, okay, I'm going to make myself a proper plan where I'm not going to do an endless amount of cardio and do like 10 miles on the treadmill to lose the weight quick. I'm not going to starve myself and eat absolutely nothing so that I could lose weight. No, I said, this is a structured plan I'm going to follow, and I'm going to give myself at least 1 year to get myself to my first goal. I started at 215 pounds, and I said, I'm going to give myself at least 1 year, which is 64 weeks, to lose about 30 pounds, about 20 to 30 pounds. I said my first goal is going to be 200 pounds. My second goal is going to be 190 and then 180. I really just wanted to get back to 180, which is about 35 pounds from where I started. And I told myself, I said, that's my goal. I'm going to take it by 5-pound increments. And I hope that at 180 that I have abs and that I look the way I want, and that'll be my end. So what happened was I ended up going all the way down to 157 because I didn't look how I wanted to look at 180. But giving it that time, giving it that patience made all the difference, because I was able to hold on to all my muscle mass as a natural and all my strength, and even gain some strength in some exercises. And all I needed to do was give it time, which I did. And I'm so thankful and happy about myself for doing that. Because if I wouldn't have done that, I promise you I would look skinny fat right now, and I would look skinnier with no muscle mass, and I would have to just restart that whole cycle again. No, I believed in myself, which you should do. And this isn't the first time I lost weight. This is my second time losing weight. I used my experience, and I went on Google, and I went on YouTube, and I did what I had to do to figure out how the hell I can do this naturally and how long it will take. So that is that. And now the fourth thing that I really put into use to make myself look the way I did and to lose all that weight and to look leaner is that I made myself a goal in mind, and I made myself micro goals. My goal was to get to 180, and I said at that point I should look really good, and that'll be the end of my diet. But that was like 35 pounds from where I started at 215. And I said, okay, this is my goal, but I want to lose 1 pound per week so that I can focus on maintaining as much muscle mass as possible, and so that I can do it on a consistent basis instead of killing myself, getting burnt out, and restarting the cycle. And doing those 1 pound increments on a weekly basis, only weighing myself once per week on every Saturday, Sunday, and putting that into use helped me out so much with again not being burnt out, and with also just staying focused on a long-term goal while seeing those weekly changes. I said if I look at myself by the end of this week and I'm 1 pound less, then I've had a successful week and that we're still on track to lose all the way. It's just going to take a little bit more time. So with all that being said, this is just a little bit of thoughts, a little bit of mindset tips for me for losing over 55 pounds in less than 2 years. And I'm just super proud of myself for doing that, for doing it by my lonely. Like, no one helped me, no one was there to help me, no one was there besides me. They all thought I was just like this fat piece of shit who loved to work out, who didn't know what he was doing, and who was just posting content just to do it. But no, I had a bigger vision in mind, and thankfully I'm now on the other side of that. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this helped one of you out, some of you out. If you have any comments or questions about how I did it, what I did, specific stuff, let me know. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out.